And we are back. I know y'all missed us. Hopefully, y'all missed us as much as we missed y'all, and we missed each other. And we also missed the last week, obviously. But again, shout out to our big cousins at the Culture Garden feed that they allowed us to put out an episode that me and Ash recorded. You got served, and we got something to talk about in that regard when we get to that section of our show. But this is the Childish Grownups show. Man, we thank y'all for tuning in as always. We love to do this every week, to be childish in this very moment where we have to be grown-ups all the time. Y'all know me as Maurice Hunt III, aka Mo, but I'm not alone. I'm here with both my wonderful hosts, Mia G and Ash Bash. Ladies, how are y'all doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Well rested. Happy to be here. So
I'm doing great.
Well, good. It's like you had a nice hot cup of tea over there. You got your chill on, got your candles lit.
I was this close to actually making myself some tea before we started, but I was like already running a little late. So I was like, no, it's okay. I can have some after.
Yeah.
But it's definitely that kind of day around here.
Yeah.
Around my way, it's a little chilly. It's raining.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, it's definitely going to be tea and candles once them kids go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're doing well. Hopefully, y'all doing well. So before, you know how we do, we like to acknowledge the Stoop kids. I had another alias for y'all, but I can't remember right now. I should have noted it somewhere. But in the meantime, to all our Stoop kids, we got a couple of comments since we were gone for a little bit. So one of the comments we got was from Mama C from our old episodes. She just says, "Now I want some donuts/cake." Ash and got them hungry out there, huh?
definitely.
I love when y'all responding to our flash with Ash, just participating with us. So we appreciate that. We got a couple of comments on the "You Got Served" one that we were able to put out on our feed. So from one is Public Enemy B. He says, "The section where y'all was roasting them had me crying. LOL." End quote. Boot cuts, Grand Theft Auto hands, Sims 1, 2, and 3. Crying emoji. Oh man. That Ash, you want to kind of give some insight on that for those that didn't listen to the episode or don't know what he's referring to?
We were talking about one of the dance scenes, I think, with what was his name?
Wade.
Yeah, Wade and his crew, and how they had on the jeans and they trying to hit all these moves, and it's just like, bro said they had on the boot cut jeans, and I think I said
had the Grand Theft
GTA
Auto,
hands.
yeah, bro. Super stiff, bro. Like, oh man. So he was laughing about that because we were laughing about it on air when we did that. Like that was so like that's when you just start really building on the bit. And then also lastly from Mama C, she says B2K was Mia G's favorite group, so I know this is a favorite of hers. I am a fan of the movie.
Okay, I gotta ask.
Yes, go ahead, give it to him.
Mia, which one was your favorite?
Okay. It started out Raspy, but then it switched to J-Bug.
Okay. I never heard Raspy as a first.
I know, and I'll tell you why. So when they came out, I was like probably seventh grade. I was like sixth, seventh grade, seventh or eighth grade, somewhere in there.
In the middle school area.
And I had a group of friends. It was 4 of us, and we all had our correlating member of B2K. I like Raspy. I felt like he was the best dancer out of the whole.
I agree with that.
I was really into dance. That was my thing around that time. So I thought he was the best dancer. Couldn't tell me otherwise. And I saw something there.
You saw people doing things.
I saw something, But then as I got a little older, I don't know. 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 had a little, little brown skin started to
Mhm.
like what?
Had put a little
Okay.
more chocolate in the milk.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Need a little
J
bit of
Bud was my favorite.
melanin. And then it was like, J-Bug. Okay, period. But I definitely was a B2K super fan.
Mm.
Super fan.
Yeah, me and my cousins were too. J Bud was my favorite. We had a girl group. It was me and two older cousins, and we had a group called G2K. And we used to dance. We talked about it on that episode,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
G2K was our group.
Oh man, those are the days, bro. Like I mean, we talked at length on the episode. Y'all go back to last
Yeah.
week's episode, but like, those are the days. Like, oh man,
Man.
fandom was real quick, and I'll move on. I'm not gonna be long with it all, but like, I was just talking about this the other day. The fact that like it's like everything like fandom was so organic back then. Everything is kind of manufactured and manipulated now with social media and ads, how they go about telling us what's cool now versus how we all develop on our own what's cool to us. Because there's many people that love B2K. I mean, there's a ton of us guys that was hating on them, but then still secretly loved them, like I spoke on the episode. So that's kind of what I miss when we obviously this is a nostalgic podcast, but I miss how you could organically become a fan. Like that was fun. The excitement of, yo, this is my favorite group. Now they got a movie. You know what I mean? Like that was huge, man. I miss those days.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I really feel like we just had the best era. There really isn't anything for the young, like teenage girl or the adolescent. They don't make like boy bands. We had like boy bands. And I remember when Pandemonium came out, I was such like a super fan that I was at school that day when the album was dropping. And I made my stepdad go to the record store and get a copy because they had the CD with each one of them had their own cover. I made
Oh,
him
I
go
didn't know
get
that.
one. Yeah, so they
Yeah,
had
let me see this.
Pandemonium came out, they each had their own cover. And I made him go get one with Raspy for me and one with Lil Fizz for my friend Lizzie and bring them to the school while I was still in school that day. He brought them to school. He gave it to me.
Wow.
Hold up, I gotta see this. That's crazy. So they all had like a oh really? And this is still the same CD. It just had individual.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. This ain't flash or ass, but I gotta see. I'm gonna see what y'all see how deep y'all music bag is, and I'm this gonna tell me a lot about y'all. B2K, go Pretty Ricky.
B2K all day.
Wait a minute.
Hold up, you asked that way too quick. Excuse me.
Because this is a different era. This is a different era of Mia.
Hey, oh man, that's like
Okay.
high school. We're getting into high school now, so
Pretty Ricky was speaking to a much
hey, listen.
more awakened.
Experience.
Yo, all right. That's another kind. I know we can really get into that conversation because, bruh, I don't know if you've ran Pretty Ricky back recently, Ash, but I ran them back recently. I was like, damn.
If you're saying musically, yeah, I go with Pretty Ricky, but
You just
you're
saying like,
talking looks.
oh, you're talking okay, like from attractions. Oh well, I mean,
Yeah.
they were like the classic Pretty Boy group versus like they were like more of a. It's just like your classic Boys to Men versus like Jodeci. You know what I mean? It's like okay, these are like the pretty boys over here versus the petty boys over here.
Hey.
So. But anyway, y'all know that just kind of had to jump in that nostalgia real quick. But y'all, thank y'all nonetheless for tuning in to that last week and bearing with us. Life going life, as I said in the announcement in the front end. But we're here. So, with that being said, so silly. I would throw the ball in your court first. Ash, childish grown up moment. We got a little bit of time in between. So, what you got for us?
We did have time, but I wrote this down a while ago. It's something real small. Just was watching Clarissa Shields' movie. It's called The Fire Inside. She's like the boxer, Clarissa Shields. And there was a scene where when she was like a little girl, like growing up, she was riding on this dude's bike because he was like, I can give you a ride going home. And they on the bike and she riding on the front of the bike.
Ooh.
No pegs or nothing.
Ooh.
Just laid back on the front.
Handlebar joint.
So I was just that took me back instantly. I'm like, first of all, I'm not riding on nobody's bike who ain't got no pegs.
Mm-mm.
Second of all, I'm not riding on the front pegs. Period. Like for me, I'm gonna be on the back pegs. But you had some bread if you had pegs on.
Okay,
on
that's
both
why.
sides.
That's exactly what I was about to go. The pegs, bro.
I was like, yo, you had some bread if you had pegs. I don't think we ever had pegs on our bike ever. And so yeah, just that little moment, it took me back. I was like, yo, she's wilding riding on the front with nothing else.
Mia, you want to respond to this because I definitely got some things to say, but I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna relax.
No, you go. You go.
Okay, listen. For one, like I said, like you got pegs, you have money. You know, and don't let you have pegs. And you got a mongoose. Like you got the mongoose bike. You know, every day people we might have had a Huffy. We was happy with the Huffy. Like cool, we got the Huffy joint, but you got the mongoose. You got the mongoose. Your parents is like they doing all right. What do they do for a living? Because you got this, you know. But do you listen? How we used to ride for us that didn't have pegs, that were not as fortunate to have that. You the best way, the safe way that how we do it, the closest thing to safe is the person would ride the bike and then you would sit on the seat. So they would just be pedaling and you sit on the, you know what I mean? Now that's a lot on them. Like we put a whole lot of stake on their legs and their stamina and we sitting on the seat, but sitting on the front, you're putting it all on the line, bro. Do you know how risky that was? Scary. I did it for like one time and I was like, I can't do this because the bar is moving too. It's way too much, bro. It's so risky. So man, the fact that you brought that up, that is good. That is excellent.
Yeah, man, took me back.
God, man. All right, man. Riding bike, kids. I wish they would ride bikes more these days. I know they're not doing it, but like I'm like, man, this was like a thing, like to learn how to ride a bike.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mia G, you got a childish grown up moment for us.
You know, I didn't have one for the longest. And I'm like, oh man, I was thinking about it. And it occurred to me last night because it was more of a moment that happened last night that reminded me of my mom when I was little, a moment between me and my daughter. And I was like, okay. So we were over my cousin's house and me and her, it was me, her, and then she has two boys, and I have my little boy and my daughter. And we were in the kitchen, she was cooking, and we had like wine, and we were listening to music. And I'm just in the kitchen with my wine, vibing to the music. And I had a little moment, my little song came on. I'm holding my wine up.
Oh, no, you didn't.
My daughter comes in the room and she starts dancing with me. And I'm like, this reminds me so much of my mom. When I was little, her and my aunts be in the kitchen cooking with their wine, listening to whatever R&B was popping at the time. And then I would go in there, have my little moment, dance with my mom. And it was just like a full circle moment.
Do you remember the song at all? Like what had you like really geeked like that?
I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say
that. What? Come on,
say
man.
it.
You already here now?
No, y'all, I don't think it's not a mainstream R&B song.
Now you really got us interested.
We don't care.
Now we really interested. I gotta know how deep the cut is.
No.
Oh, really? It must not. Is it not even R&B? It's like a different genre.
It is R&B, but it's like
we might know it, bro. Like you think it's that deep of a cut we wouldn't know?
I'm almost positive y'all wouldn't know.
Dang.
Give us a try. Let us try.
Come on, please.
Hold on, because
is it what's dude's name? There's a song that was like a super
you gotta at least put it in the group chat.
What about that song that Say Yes? Was it that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that was like a little deep cut that like
circulated,
but nobody knew, but they knew. I mean, that was man, yeah. Throw it in the chat then if you don't, whatever. But
hold on.
Okay, I gotta know, man. I'm sorry, you got us curious.
We're not gonna let it die down.
Um,
Come back to this. Come back to this question.
All right. All right. I got quite a few Childish Grownups moments, and I was happy to have these. So I'm gonna go through them like kind of like some quick hits. So one, I was watching a sermon of our granddad on YouTube. He's no longer with us this many years ago, but the Childish Grownup moment was Ash would know. So the camera view, like all of the videos are normally the same, but there's a specific camera view. When I seen how it was shot, I realized I remembered this when we used to go to church as a kid. You remember the little pillar that was in the middle where the camera dude would be like higher up and point in the camera? We used to always want to get up there. Bro, I seen the camera angle. I said, "Oh, that's where the dude was." I said, "Oh my God, we wanted to get up there like so bad, you know." So that's one. Two, finally watched Boy Meets World. I was like, okay. We were like in like kind of floating through, and I was like, you know, let's throw Boy Meets World on. Shout out to Ash for the Disney Plus. And so, you know, I was like, all right, I watched it, and maybe I didn't pick a good episode because it wasn't it. It wasn't it. But I'm still open-minded. I'm not closed-minded because I enjoyed it as a kid. But
wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What episode was it?
It was the episode where it's the parents' anniversary, and also Corey and them wanted to have a party, and they ended up trying to kind of meshing the two together. It almost like a bar or a pub or something, and it didn't go all the way right. But you know, they ended up getting to share how much they really, you know, love their parents, and they ended up getting their song played, and it kind of came all together like sitcoms do. But it was just like,
you should have came to me for an episode. So
well, it was I know it was spare the moment. I was like, it was kind of like, it wasn't super young Corey, but it was still school Corey, so a little older Corey. But yeah, it was like, look again. I'm open minded. I'm not dogging and saying it ain't a good show or nothing like that. Like I ain't got revisionist history. It's just I said maybe I shouldn't watch that episode. Also, we went to the laundromat because we just moved, so we don't have a washer and dryer at the moment. And the laundromat, come on, how nostalgic is the laundromat, bro? Like the clothes in the basket with the wheels, and you know, like how we just get in them joints and roll around the. Don't even get me started. The smell of it, the quarters coming out, like all that, bro. Like it was just like, it's tedious, but I still, every time I go to the laundry, I still have such an appreciation. So there's that. And then lastly, my last one, this is going to require sound. So let me get this pulled up here for y'all. Okay. So I have a polytone as my ringtone. Now, anybody that grew up in the time we grew up in the 2000s, 90s, 2000s. Y'all know before we start getting like actual songs or like the voicemails where you see the clips on Instagram where people recorded, we had polytones and we would be rocking out to the polytones. Well, they happened to have a polytone by my favorite artist, and I had to get it immediately. And y'all tell me I know one of y'all be able to guess it, but y'all tell me if y'all can guess this. But I had to get it, and it is currently my polytone. So I'm going to give y'all this at this present moment. Y'all ready? Here we go. Oh, hold on. I got to connect back to my Bluetooth. Sorry, it's been a while. Actually, I just played off my phone. We can just do it like that. All right. All right. All right. So that's Drake Family Matters. For those that don't know what the look at me like I'm about to leave. I'm leaving. But so I had seen the polytone. I was like, oh, I gotta have it. Cause I mean, I remember it was floating around, there was a polytone of Kendrick out there, and there was this polytone. I didn't think it was official. And I just randomly, I was like, I need a new ringtone. And I had seen this, and I was like, you know what? How much more nostalgic can you get than having a polytone? A polytone, bro? Like, so I just had to get it. So So I have that polytone, and also my text tone is the Sega. So when people text me, that's what I get. So I'm super in my. This show has just made me drive and drench in nostalgia. So yes, that was a lot, but those are my childish grown up moments to add to those wonderful ones that Mia G and Ash Bash had. All right.
Okay, so I found the song because I didn't know what it's called, but I was like, oh wait, I gotta find it. It's called Take Heed. The artist's name is Young Guy. Young Guy.
I would have to hear it because it's not without the realm of possibility that I've ever heard the song.
I gotta hear
Take
it, brother.
heed. Yeah, I gotta.
It's definitely put your wine glass up in the air.
Hold up, like, and I mess around. Hold up.
Waiting to Exhale Night song.
Hey, I'm about to put that joint on the pod. Listen, I'm about to see because if I put this on here and people recognize this. Oh no, I didn't see. It's been so long since I hooked up to this. I don't even remember what my my speaker name is. So it's like a slow vibey song.
It's not like it's like a auntie line dance tempo.
That's smooth. I was just listening to it.
See, I'm mad because I can't hear it. Damn.
It's smooth. I've never heard it before.
In my auntie era. So.
Also, all right. Well, I'll let it marinate, but okay. A deep cut. Y'all check that out. What's the song called again? Just for people to know.
Take Heed.
Take Heed
by Young Guy.
Okay. I may throw it in here just for a second, just so y'all can all like get tapped in. So post production, y'all get to hear a little bit of this song, and y'all picture Mia G with a wine glass up getting her auntie bop on. So, oh man, all right, go ahead and give it to us, Ash.
All right, so y'all know it's time for the Flash with Ash. And quick sidebar, that's how you know we just missed each other. We had so much to talk about in the beginning.
Man.
I love it.
Me too.
All right, so we got 3 trivia we coming in. First one is from Wild Thornberries. Oh. What was the name of the mother? Was it Marianne, Eliza, Jessica, or Debbie?
We know it's not Eliza.
No. I'm gonna say Marianne.
See, I'm going Marianne or Jessica. I'm basing this off of what I felt like I heard the husband say with that strong accent. All right, I'm going Marianne too.
That's correct.
Oh, I
knew it. I knew it.
Oh man, shout out to me.
His name was Nigel. Her name was Marianne, and then Debbie was the older daughter, and Eliza was the girl who was the main who could talk to the animals.
Look at you.
Man, look at you.
I really love
So that's your show.
I wasn't as big into it. I would watch it. I definitely watch it over Angry Beavers, but Angry Beavers was down there. Like when I'll watch these shows because that's all we had back in the day. You didn't have streaming, but yeah, it was like a few that was like down there. Like How Real Monsters was down there. It's like, I'll watch it, but I ain't, yeah.
Okay. All right. So y'all want to know. Let's get into the second one. This is from Martin. Martin and Gina had a joint checking account. Martin used the money in his account to buy a very large TV. What did Gina use with her money to buy? I know y'all know this.
Oh my goodness.
Don't make me look bad.
It looks you through the pressure. I'm trying to figure the right term. It's like a footstool or some kind of stool type of thing which was the silliest thing, but I feel like it's something like that. I think it got returned and then he ended up copying it, but I don't remember the specific term, but it's something like that. I never understood why it was so valuable, but that's what I would go with. What say you, Mia?
Oh my God, I really don't remember. I don't remember at all.
It was a bread maker.
A bread maker.
I do remember that. Damn. So then what was the
You thinking the episode where he forgot the anniversary,
Oh
and then he went to shop for lingerie, but then he ended up taking the stool because she wanted it.
bro. Hey, talk about continuity issue. Gina can't even cook. Why she got a bread maker? Sitcoms. 90s sitcoms. A bread maker, bro? Come on.
And just in comparison to that TV, it's nuts.
It is.
Hashitashi.
Hashitashi. Yo, the dude that was selling the Hashitashi was hilarious, bro.
All right, last one. This from y'all show, Living Single. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
After Sinclair moved out, what was the new roommate's occupation? A dancer, a cashier, a songwriter, or a bodyguard?
I'm not a big Living Single
I
enthusiast.
think I know, but I don't want to like. What do you think, Mom?
Okay, give me options one more time.
A dancer, cashier, songwriter, or bodyguard?
I think I know.
Well, whatever it is, got to be doing the most. Where they got to get her out of there because she didn't stay.
Because he was a dude.
Oh, it was a dude. Dancer.
And I remember who played him, but I'm trying. I think
okay,
I
hold on. Okay, so
occupation.
dancer, bodyguard, musician.
Or cashier?
I'm an X out cashier. I'm gonna go dancer, Steve.
Okay.
I'm gonna go songwriter.
Songwriter is correct.
Oh man, okay.
It was a dude. It was played by Mel Jackson. Light skin,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
I
Yeah.
remember him. I remember him on there, but I guess I never. Okay.
I didn't know he was a roommate though. Yeah, I didn't.
That was a later seasons, wasn't it?
Had to be.
Gif of him when he's in the kitchen cooking and he's sprinkling the parsley in the pasta. I remember him, and I thought I remembered him being a songwriter.
Okay.
He definitely an R&B looking dude for sure.
Yeah.
Look like
he's giving all the makings of
all of the makings of the, you know what I'm saying? The
Wouldn't be
Kevin
the
Hart.
first time he played a songwriter in a piece of media.
Why don't we
Because he
see
played a
him more?
songwriter in The Temptations.
I like Mel.
Me too. I wish we see him more.
No, I don't know what he up to. Why is his lips always red too? Like, why are your lips
I don't know nothing about that, but
always ready to go.
ready to go right now.
But yeah, that's it for the Flash with Ash, y'all.
All right. Dang, I'm one for two. 1 out of 3, I guess. Dang. All right, man. We'll have to come back to the drawing board, try to get it together next week, man. Shout out to Mia. Mia got the trophy this week. All right, well, now without further ado, now we've gotten all of the preliminaries out of the way of the show. The moment y'all been waiting for. Y'all know y'all been looking forward to it. One of the best movies, period. And we're here. So without further ado, Mia G, the machine is in effect. The lever is there. Go on, take us back one time for the one time.
Okay. We are going back to 1985, before all of us were born. But a classic that is a part of a classic franchise. We're going to be talking about Rocky IV. Synopsis: Rocky Balboa proudly holds the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship, but a new challenger has stepped forward. Drago. I can never.
Ivan Drago.
Yes. A 6'6", 261-pound fighter who has the backing of the Soviet Union. For cast, we have the Sylvester Stallone, the Italian Stallion, as Rocky Balboa, Talia Shire as Adrian, Carl Weathers, rest in peace, as Apollo Creed, Burt Young as Paulie, Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago.
It's
My
okay.
bad.
It's all good.
Brigitte Nielsen as Ludmilla, Tony Burton as Duke, Michael Pataki as Nikolai Koloff, and Rocky Krakoff as Rocky Jr. And this was released November 27th, 1985. A Thanksgiving release is always for the biggest movies every year that get the Thanksgiving release or Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are all types of Rocky merchandise, Apollo Creed merchandise, whether it be action figures, clothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So
Video
there's
games. Okay. Ash, did you have that game? The Rocky fighting game? I feel like it wasn't great, but
I did. I don't recall
who
playing it.
who had it? I feel like, hold on, let me look it up real quick. I think it was on PlayStation 2. I remember the cover of it. I think I remember it not being that good.
It does
But
look familiar now I'm looking at it. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe we did.
bruh, yeah, that might be one of them deep cuts that Dad. I don't know how Dad got, but we had it, but may have not played it a lot. But I feel like I remember you playing it, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I seen somebody else. I don't know, but yeah, it was on GameCube as well. So PlayStation
I had
2
a
and
game.
GameCube. You had a game. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you know what? It could have been our cousins. That could have been a possibility. It could have been our cousins that we grew up very close, but nonetheless, like Mia said, there's a lot of products that go with that. So let's do a rewind. Ash, going back, remembering this. I mean, we don't obviously remember the first time. Like this movie came out in '85. Who's to say when the heck we watched this? You know, for the first time as kids. But remembering how you remember seeing this film, yeah, whatever you can attach to your earliest memory of watching this, and then how it felt this time. What was that like for you?
I remember being excited for it. I mean, at this point, going into Rocky 4, you already invested in Rocky, watching all the other ones. So, and I feel like I don't know the timeline of how they were dropping them. I feel
Mhm.
like it wasn't we weren't waiting a long time for the next one to come out. I'm not sure, but it just felt like they were coming right after each other. But I just remember being excited for it and just not wanting Rocky to lose like ever.
Mhm.
I don't care who he faced, just being super invested and not wanting him to lose. And I felt the same watching it now. Like I got so hyped watching it this time. And yeah, I told y'all how I get those emotional, those happy tears when there's a shift, happening or like something big is about to happen. Like I'm
Yeah.
sitting on the bed Indian style. And I'm super excited, like getting a little watery.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It just I get excited for moments like that, like big turns.
Mm.
And same reaction, man. It was hard for me to watch the Apollo fight. I was dreading that the whole time because it's gonna happen. So still not looking forward to that fight, but it was exciting to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while, so but yeah.
Mm. What about you, Mia? What was it like then in your earliest memory of watching this film, and how was it
Listen,
this time?
this might as well have been a first time watch for me because I did not remember having seen this, and it actually had me thinking like I don't remember what of the Rocky films I have or haven't seen. Like it all kind of blurs together,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't. Back like as a kid, I was never a Rocky fan. Like I didn't know much about Rocky, which is crazy because my family, like my mom's family, all huge boxing fans,
Mm-hmm.
very much into boxing. Always have watched fights since I was a kid,
Yeah.
but I never really remember watching Rocky until I was older. And I know I've seen the first one. I just like And the crazy thing is, I knew what was going to happen. Like, I knew the premise of the movie just because I really love the Creed movies. And I knew, of course,
Yeah, the connection. Yeah.
like his connection and what happened, but I couldn't remember actually having seen it. Like, I was watching, I was like, I knew Brigitte Nielsen was in it. I knew like what happened, but I couldn't remember. Like, as it was happening, I was like, oh, I don't remember like that I've seen this. But now I do want to go back and watch all of the Rocky films because
Mm.
I'm like, okay, I have to know, like I have to see the whole thing, especially because it gave birth to one of my favorite trilogies.
Yeah. Fire. So that's dope. So it's kind of a new experience, and so I like the idea of that because it kind of gives you that roller coaster ride. It's like, okay, I know kind of where we're gonna get, but it's in the details that make it more interesting in this watch. For me, obviously don't remember the first time or nothing like that, but just rewinding back, I feel like my dad might have had something to do with that. Our dad had something to do with us watching this, but this is one of those films back in the day. Like there's only so many films. I don't know if kids probably get this reaction still. I won't take nothing away from the generation currently, but like there's certain films that you walk away from wanting to do what you saw. Like rather it's Karate Kid, you wanted to leave with war, like you wanted to do, if it's Back to the Future, or some of the basketball films or some of the like romance films or whatever it is, like there's certain films that make you walk away wanting to do what you just saw. And I remember this movie. It definitely wasn't in theater, obviously, but like I remember watching it and like the triumphant feeling of it made me want to box, as a kid, because you want to do everything you see. You want to be a Power Ranger. You want to be a Ninja Turtle. Like you want to be everything you see at the time. And I remember watching this, like being like, like just wanting to be like that. This time now, from the childish side to the grown up side, um, it resonated the same, but it is a lot different. Like it is a lot different in the details. I really looked at this. That's the kind of the blessing of being this age. You see the psychology in things now. You can see the heart. You can see the intellect. You can see the wheels turning in the characters' brains, and you really empathize in certain regards with certain plots. This time there was one scene. I actually talk about tears. There was one scene that got me teary eyed where I had to do the head lean. I had to do the head lean. I had called myself like, because I knew. I said, oh no. Nope, no. This is not what I can pick this film for. You're not about to do this. So I had one scene, and it's gonna be so low key when I get to it. But it was one scene that made me do the head lean to catch the tear. So yeah. So let's have a little bit of a overall discussion here. So Sylvester Stallone, we know, legend, GOAT. I think he got 3 trilogies. I mean, this is obviously more than a trilogy, Rocky, but like 3, films that are like, I think this, oh my God, I'm slipping my Rambo and Expandables. So I want to ask y'all, what is okay? First, are y'all Sylvester Stallone fans, or are you just like I'm cool with his movies? Like I like his movies, or which I say y'all a fan of Sylvester Stallone? Before I set up the next question,
I would say I'm cool with his movies.
okay.
Aside from Rocky, I don't think I went out of my way to see a movie that he's in. Like even the Rambos, I hear they're really good, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen one of the later ones, and that was just, I don't know, something just made me click on it. But like, yeah, I wouldn't say I was always like seeking out
Mm-hmm.
movies that he's in or like looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it happened to be on, and and I'm not doing much, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Mia?
I would have to say the same, but that's because he's all of his movies for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
he's just a huge action star. I was never like a huge action movie girl who's just going seeking out all the action movies. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't really my genre of choice. But of course, when I've seen his films, like the Rocky films, or seen him in Creed, or seen things that he was in, because I was seeing it with like a boy or whatever, because
Of course.
dudes just love their action movies. But I've always loved him, like his acting. I think he's very unique. He has his own thing, like how he's gonna present in his movies. So
Mm. Yeah, I think you're right. It is a thing that he's before our era, so that makes all of the difference in the world. Is that he did do these before us? This movie even came out before we were born, so that makes a difference. I think that's kind of what it is. I think we had the appreciation for him, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which obviously we know they went toe to toe as far as action stars. So yeah, I would agree with y'all. I think I have become a little bit more of a fan after seeing he has a documentary, I believe, on Netflix. If it's not Netflix, it's elsewhere, but he has a documentary. It's called Sly. Um, this documentary was amazing because he kind of gave up everything that he had. He had this wonderful mansion with everything in it, and he gave up everything, because he wanted to kind of be regular, kind of so to speak. And his journey to creating Rocky, he wrote these films, which was very advanced. And he once, was I think it's equestrian. He was known like to ride horses and stuff, and just his story of how he was born, and I think his mom couldn't really afford um, healthcare like that. So when he was delivered, like he was delivered not quite right, which is why he kind of has like he said, he has like the droopy eyes or like kind of the side talking mouth because of how he was delivered. I mean, obviously he got surgery later in life that, kind of fixed those issues, but just like that. And like he wrote this film, the original, and I'm gonna give a little backstory to catch us up with the first three films. But he wrote this and they said this is good and somebody wanted to buy it finally, but they didn't want him to star in it. He said, I won't give it out unless I star in it, because he believed he connect with this character. And man, I'm not an actor, but I have a fictional podcast where I am the lead for a character that I act in. And I totally understand that. If I had to let go of the character and somebody else play Jalen Watts, I totally get like, no, I have to be Jalen. So on a small scale, I understand it, but he's still on business. And we got what, 6 Rocky movies, I believe, give or take 6 or 7. So it's amazing. And Ash was saying how frequently they would come out. It was coming out about every 3-4 years. It started in 76 and it just kept going from there, which is amazing. The fact that this came out, the first one was in 76, and one more thing with Sylvester. If y'all haven't, man, y'all should really check out Tulsa King. Tulsa King, I mean, I'm a big mafia guy, mob guy. I love that. Like, I love the code of ethics and how they operate in business and all that, whatever. But man, that Tulsa King, he struck gold with that, man. I don't know if they're gonna come out with a season 3, but it's a really good show, and he's so charismatic, and you love Sylvester in this. Trust me, like I like him as the lead guy in this. So, my next question. I know Mia will have some things to say. I know both of y'all have some things to say about this. Can Creed do the same thing? Right. Okay. So we're at this point with the Creed spinoffs with the lead Michael B. Jordan. They're following the timeline in a similar way. I know y'all haven't seen. Well, Ash, I know you may have seen a little bit ago, but if y'all follow Rocky 3, it's very similar. It almost mirrors Creed 3, where the success levels there. They're like, you're not hungry anymore. You about to retire. And they follow, and then there's this one opponent that gets you back in the game and gets you back hungry and gets you back there. They mirror each other very well. So my question is, can Creed 4, if they do a Creed 4, can they mirror this concept? Because this became a big political, like, kind of, when you really look at it, it's a very big political overcast on top of this film. Do y'all think they can do this, or do y'all think they would take this route at all?
Well, he already fought Drago's son, so like Creed 4 wouldn't align with this one. If they do another one, I think it would tap into his daughter, with her maybe getting into boxing and obviously her being deaf and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't see them taking the political route. That didn't even seem to be the thing when he did fight Drago's son. That
Yeah,
wasn't
right.
really brought into it. So I think that's when they wanted to try to kind of separate themselves. Like, okay, now we've ended the Rocky era. Now we're strictly focusing on Creed's path.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think where I can see what you're saying with the third one because that's when he fought Ice. What's his name?
His
Rocky
homeboy.
3,
Yeah, well, he fought
Ice T, right?
Clubber Lang,
Clever
Mister
way.
T, Mister T, but yeah.
Yeah, one of the T's. But then even with with Creed 3, uh, like you said, they grew up together. So it was more of a connection there between him fighting um, Jonathan Majors
Mm-hmm.
versus Rocky didn't know Mr. T. That was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
an envy, jealous type thing. But yeah, so.
Hmm. What about you, man? What you think?
So the only thing I could think that would make it kind of similar, because like Ash said, he's already fought the Russian son,
Mm-hmm.
um, would have to be like they could follow the trainer mentor passing away sort of thing. It could be, I don't know if the one who was played by uh oh my
Hey,
goodness.
Boogie.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all talking
uh
about Wood Harris?
Wood Harris, right? If like he passed, or they could, you know, because Rocky wasn't in 3, but I don't know if he would come back for 4. I mean, they could do something like that, but I think the way that they've done it, it can't necessarily follow the like the same timeline as Rocky. But I do think that it has the potential to go on and have a successful franchise like Rocky.
Mm-hmm. I think I think they can do it. They don't. It doesn't have to have like the overarching political side of it. But I think I don't know. I've watched all 3, and I mean, I guess you can be like, did he have a fight where they felt he couldn't win? But I don't know, and that's the tricky part about the Creed franchise for me is the stakes were so high here. They're so high. It makes me wonder. That's what I think that could be a possibility. But I mean, maybe they have thought about that when they had Drago Jr. That's what we call him. But they had Drago Jr. him fight like, oh, he can't beat him. But I don't know. The stakes felt as high. I think that they could because again, I feel like they're loosely following conceptually the same thing. This first one, he was trying to get into boxing just like his dad. Rocky was trying to get into boxing. You go into the second one where I think in the first movie, didn't he lose in the first movie, Creed?
Yeah.
Okay, Rocky lost in the first movie. In the second movie, they wanted a rematch, but obviously different over there. He fought Drago Jr. So I don't know. I think they could take this concept, but just deal more from a you can't win standpoint. Like, shout out to Adrian. But yeah, I don't know. I find it very interesting. I just find it really interesting. And one more thing, because in Creed 3, when his homeboy come out of jail that they grew up with, his homeboy looking at him like, bro, you all flashy and diamonds, like, bro, you washed up, like you ain't got some of this success, bro. You ain't lost it. And that's the same thing that Clubber Lang was on with Rocky, in 3. He was just like, bro, you've been fighting some chumps. Like you ain't got all this success. We got Hulk Hogan. Well, I'll get into like the premise of those, but like you got Hulk Hogan in here for a charity. Like y'all, you know what I mean? Like, bro, you wash, which obviously Apollo had to come into the mix. I'll get into that. But a couple more things in our discussion. One more thing, actually. When Ivan Drago and Rocky fight in Russia, do y'all think they already had the flag in the sauce for him, or do y'all think that they upped their whole swag after the Apollo Creed entrance? because he was an amateur. Let's be clear. Like they emphasized that he was an exceptional amateur, Ivan Drago. But like when Rocky got to Russia, they didn't have a whole flag. They had the whole like they didn't pull out the stops. Do y'all think that was always there? Y'all think that maybe they seen the showmanship of Apollo and they thought, oh, he's repping our country, we're gonna up it. It's just something I noticed this time. I said, what do y'all
That
think?
is a great question. I never thought about that. That does make you wonder because he was exceptional, obviously, but I think they upped it, man. I think after you see Living in America, bro, with James Brown, like, because again, if you look at Drago's face, he's looking. Apollo coming
Yes,
down,
yes.
he's in awe, and obviously all the people, his wife and the other guy that's with him, like, I think they upped the ante, man. I don't think they was rocking like that over there. That don't even seem like
Yeah.
they would do that. So I think they upped it. That's a great question. I didn't think about it.
That's a deep cut. I just noticed. I said, man, you know what? What about you, man? What you thinking?
I can't wait. I cannot wait to talk about Apollo Creed in this.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
The whole okay, but now I would say once they found out that they were going to be fighting in Russia, they probably were like, "Oh, we got to get our flag up a little bit."
Okay.
So I think they probably upped it once they were like, "Oh, he's coming here. We got to show him that we got pride in our country."
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I think I'm with y'all. We all in agreement here. We're going trips. I think the same thing is like they obviously looking at Apollo. We'll get there, but like they're looking at Apollo like big mouth and all that. But like again, that Ivan Drago reaction when he's being lifted up in the ring, he's looking around like, bro, what is this? And then like when they got there, like he got his big flex off. Like they got the flag with me, bro. Like, they got the flag up. And Ivan Drago looking back at Rocky twice, like, yeah. You see it? He quietly just looked at him twice. I was like, oh man, yeah, you see it? And so I definitely think the showmanship, because again, and we're gonna spill right into the movie in a moment. They wanted Rocky originally. They wanted Rocky originally. There was going to be great notoriety for the great Russian fighter that they had in Ivan Drago. And, obviously that ain't how it went at first. But I definitely think they upped the ante when they seen the showmanship of Apollo Creed, man. That may not have been the case, but it's just an interesting theory that I just noticed. That I don't know if anybody's ever had that theory or not, but like that's you heard it here first. The Childish Grownups show. All right. So real quick, ladies, just some background context. All right. So Rocky 1. Rocky Balboa fights at night for some money on the side and meets Adrian at the pet store. We meet her brother, her overprotective brother, Paulie. Apollo Creed has a fight in Philly and loses his opponent less than 5 weeks from the fight. So they come up with a plan to let a local fighter box with him. And we're introduced to Mickey, Rocky's trainer, and a father figure. And Rocky, so pretty much Rocky ends up being the one, and they figure out how to promote the whole thing. It's like, oh, the Italian Stallion. I can't remember what his nickname was, Apollo, but versus the Italian Stallion. So Rocky, and then we see the fight. Rocky got a knockdown on Apollo, and Apollo wins by a split decision. And we get the classic Adrian. So that's the first movie. Rocky 2, Apollo wants a rematch because he didn't like how close the fight was with this amateur and also how it made him look fighting a local fighter. Rocky has some clout and he also marries Adrian and gets pregnant and they have a son. Rocky tried to act and work at Harlan Beef and neither worked out. After all the trolling Apollo did, Rocky finally decides to do it, and Adrian and Mickey were against it at first until they came around and tell him, you know what, go get him. And eventually them two face off again, and Rocky beats Apollo. Rocky 3 is 3 years have passed, and Rocky is the man now. He has had 10 title defenses and won. He's now famous, and he's putting on a charity fight with, the Hulk Hogan character. He has a different name in the film, but whatever. Even though, that's not his name, Clubber Lang, Mr. T, says all your fights were against some bums, basically. And Mickey agrees, which is, Rocky's trainer. And he doesn't want Rocky to fight Clubber. Clubber shoves Mickey and he dies from a heart attack. And Rocky loses that fight against Clubber Lang, that first fight, but he go in the last moments with Mickey. He lets Mickey believe that he had actually won right before he died. Apollo trains Rocky to get his edge back and to become a better offensive fighter, because if you've watched the previous, he's good. He can handle a punch, but he wasn't good on offense. So Apollo gave him that sauce, pretty much like, all right, let me show you how to really get busy on the offense side, throw some punches. And then he told him how to find the eye of the tiger. And after the rematch, he beats Clubber Lang. And then that brings us now to Rocky IV. So hopefully that was a nice backdrop to kind of get us caught up on everything that's happened over the years of Rocky, the series, the film series. All right. So what do y'all have? Mia, you can go first. What do you have for some plots so that we can kind of universify, if that's a word?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, their relationship.
Okay.
I had Ivan Drago as just a character. I had Apollo Creed and his desire to fight Drago, and that whole plot with the fight and how that all went. And I had the final fight.
Okay. Ash, what you got?
I'm pretty much the same. Just I put the characters and then obviously weave in and out. So I got Rocky, Apollo, Drago, a little bit touching on Adrian, and yeah, I think that's it for me. But again, intertwined with what's going on. But yeah.
I think I got just 3 plots. I take that back. So I got Rocky and Apollo, Rocky and Adrian, Rocky by himself, Rocky and Ivan Drago and / Russia. So, let's start with Apollo. I think Adrian's plot applies a little further in sequence. So, and I feel like we're jumping ahead a little bit because her stuff is all built on the middle of the movie, kind of. So let's just talk Apollo in a singularity sense. Mia G, what did you want to share? And we'll all just kind of chime in periodically as far as what you wanted to say about Apollo.
So Apollo Creed really he embodies the whole of American sports culture. Very showy, very tied, like his identity is tied to his ability to remain the guy when it comes to boxing. I think he's a good person, obviously. He's got a good spirit. The way that he's taken Rocky under his wing and just become like a kind of like an older brother mentor type of figure to him. And you see that they have a very close, loving relationship where Rocky respects and admires him, but also kind of worries and looks out for him in that way, like, and the whole issue, like when you first see Apollo mention that he wants to fight, it's like, why though? Like, why would you want to do? But he has this, you can see he feels like he's being pushed out because Drago initially comes in, he wants to fight Rocky, and it's almost as though Apollo feels irrelevant, or, like they said, a has been. And that goes into a lot of like American boxing culture. You see it, you've seen it many times. Like Mike Tyson just fought that
Roy
white
Jones.
J.
boy.
Carl.
Jake
Yeah,
Paul and Roy Jones before that, and they like
that boy that I can't stand. And it's like, why do we do this? Like, can we just bow out gracefully? Yes, the money, but it's like hold on to your legacy, please.
ageism is a thing, bro. Like age is a concept I wanted to talk about here too. So, but yeah,
I want you to bow out and hold on to your legacy that we've had. You've already, like, you've proven yourself already. You don't need to. And the whole show of it all is very much embedded into the American sports culture. You see it when you see the way Drago and his whole camp look at Apollo Creed when he's doing this whole show at this fight, which is an exhibition fight, mind you. It's not even for a title. It's just supposed to be for the,
Exhibition.
oh my goodness.
yeah, and it's like, all right now, okay,
Oh man.
okay. It was like,
I
but
got so
he's
much to say.
a lovable character for sure,
Yes.
but
Yes.
prideful, and that was the demise of Apollo Creed, was this machismo, prideful, this, I don't even know what I'm searching for the word, but that is what ultimately, and then the respect that Rocky had for him on top of that pride is ultimately what ended up killing him.
Ash.
Yeah, I mean, Mia really hit it on the nose. Just a few things to add. Yeah, he had like the big brother vibe. He was a handsome guy, had a family. Definitely, you could see him and Rocky became real friends over the years. They've known each other, training with each other. And it was like he was having a midlife crisis. You know, he had already been retired for 5 years. So it's like, dude, like Mia said, why get back in the ring? But it's just, that's all he knows. And that is a thing with American boxing. It's like, if I'm not boxing, what am I going to do? So it just makes you wonder, like, has he been enjoying retirement? Like, was he cool until he saw this newcomer trying to come in and come to the States? You know, it does make you wonder, like, the 5 years that you had been retired, how's that been for you? Yeah, some people would say maybe he was arrogant and cocky, you know, but he was backing it up. Like, one thing about him, he was putting in the work in the gym. So even though he was flashy and very showy, you know, my boy was doing his thing, and his spot was already solidified. You know, you already a legend. You know, you didn't even have to do any of this. But maybe again, we see that's how he wanted to go out. You know, he's a fighter. He kept saying that was the running thing. I'm a fighter. You know, so he was just, I don't know. It's like he was just trying to prove something to himself. You know, that inner self is, nobody can tell you anything if you know you don't believe it, or what you're feeling inside. You're gonna go off of that. But yeah, man, shout out to Apollo though.
I know we love Apollo Creed, bro. Like,
Yes.
and if you and me, I would say go back to. I mean, you can go back to the first two, but if you're just like, I really want to get in tapped in, just go back a movie before. Go back to Rocky 3, because this is where the brotherly bond kicks in. Like, when now we've faced each other in the first two films, and now he's on my side, and you've seen. I know you've probably seen the clip on Instagram. There is no tomorrow. What's the matter with you? Like that whole thing, like when he was training Rocky, trying to get I don't know, Paulo, I did that. There is no tomorrow. Like, that whole thing is like, bro, that was a real moment. And so when you see, I mean, we get a little montage at the beginning of the film. It's like they really had become brothers, and I even love how Adrian felt about him. You know, when they're having that dinner right before, like, to me, that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about age, because it's an American boxing thing, it's an American sport thing, but it's an American thing. It's this thing where American entertainment thing. It's like we don't, and it's getting worse, where we don't appreciate aging. Like we know now. I just had this conversation with my wife. It's like, don't get me wrong. There some grandmothers still got it. You know, that's just, you still got it. But like, it's like grandmothers are still trying to really be sexy and like be twerking on the gram for real. Like I for real. I'm not saying like light work. You're doing pop, lock it, drop it. No cap. Like you're doing it for real. Like you're serious. You got a sweat coming down your eyebrow. And it's like, damn, baby, with all due respect, like, why can't you just embrace age? You ain't got to be washed up out here, but like, why can't you, like, I don't know. And the hard part about it is when it comes to them that are aging, like grandmother, great grandma, whatever it is, not us. I mean, but generations don't honor them in the way they should. Be like, yo, this is a legacy act. This is we respect this highly. It's dope. We trying to be where you at, but that is lost now. We don't do that. Like, we look at you like you old and washed. You know, old folks talking about back in my day. Well, homie, this is my day. You know, we're on that type of time, and it's like Apollo was in that zone where he's feeling like washed up, and this is crazy because he's in his pool. He's living a good life. The water's super blue. Got his dog out there, and the minute they come on the news and they're talking about Ivan Drago wants to come over to the U.S. and fight Rocky Balboa, he's like, damn, because he wants to get in on it. He wants that moment. He wanted to, and he tells Rocky that, like, we're born with a killer instinct. He says that we are warriors. He says the money and the fame don't mean anything. And it's just amazing to me how deep this was for Apollo. This was deep for him. Don't get me wrong, there was a little bit of clout chasing, but it was deeper than that for him. And he had his mindset that breakfast, like how much Adrian spoke like she didn't want to see it. Rocky didn't want it. Even in that conversation, he's saying everything. Rocky's telling, yeah, I know Apollo, but and Rocky's got a mind to think because he got a son now. He's thinking about things a little differently. Like in the early first two Rockies, he's getting beat up, looking like the meat market. You know what I mean? But now he's got a conscience. I got something to live for. I got family. I got community. And he's looking at Apollo like, bro, you don't want to do this. You don't have to. You don't got nothing to prove. But Apollo's telling you, bro, this is all I know. It's literally hearkening back to Paid in Full. That conversation between Mitch and Ace, where he's sitting there, is like, man, he's like, man, look, I love the game. I love the hustle. So I be feeling like, and this is a direct quote, I be feeling like one of them ball playing niggas. Now, when I leave the game, they still gonna love me. And Ace turned around and said, man, you are real, like, you really into this. That's literally Apollo. Like, no, bro, that's me. The game is everything to me. The action is the juice. You know what I'm saying? So it unfortunately, he didn't take it quite the right way he should have. And so that, I guess we can go and transition into the fight. So we know this is an untimely demise for Apollo. He didn't take the proper steps. And I didn't get to say this, but in the earlier part of it, Apollo and Rocky, we get a flashback. I think that's the end of Rocky 3, where we see the beginning of this movie. He's like, hey, man, you look good for an old man. And, they have the whole joke, you was lying. That whole little thing, which was dope, just gets bring us back from what happened 3 years ago. But the reality had set in as we get to this film. Like, he's not taking it serious because it's an exhibition. He's trying to ride this wave. And in that breakfast, and I'm gonna throw the ball in your court, in that breakfast, there was one thing that he said that stood out as far as his observation of Ivan Drago. He said, yeah, he may be strong, but he's slow. He's slow, he's dumb. And when we get right to the fight, we find out really quickly Ivan Drago is not slow. He's 6'6", 261 pounds, but he is not slow, bro. He had a whole mystery because this is not an American boxer. And we're going to definitely talk about American mentality when we get further down into this. Here we go. Let's just have this conversation. I don't know how this is going to go. It's like a loved one that we just lost. I know. I'm going to throw the ball at Ash Court this time first. So what are some things you want to say about this Apollo and Ivan Drago? Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago fight, man.
I hate this fight. I hate the demise of Apollo. He didn't take it serious. Like you said, it's like, I don't even think you properly trained. Again, you're letting them get in your head at the press conference. It started way before, but just alone, you're at the press conference, the guy that's over, like the overseer of Russia or whatever, he's pretty much saying that Apollo's a has-been, and saying all these trigger words to Apollo that's getting him hyped. And he's like, hey man, that's supposed to be a friendly exhibition, but now, I'm really gonna give it to him. But I mean, like I said, it probably wasn't even no proper training. You probably felt like you didn't really have to train for him. Even if it was an exhibition, you're fighting somebody from a whole different country, bro. You don't even know what they do over there, how they train, and just his stats alone, bro. 6'6", 266. I don't want no problems with that man. Like, coming out of retirement, I'm good. Let me get a couple warm-ups. You don't just jump out the window. So he already lost the fight before he even got in there. And just to talk about how much energy he was exuding just on that intro alone, bro. I mean, you are putting full flex knees to chest, like hopping around, living in like, bro, you're giving us the show of your life. They felt like a last show. Like, you
Dancing with the Stars, boy.
Dancing with the Stars, bro. You're giving so much energy out the gate. And again, he had already lost the fight beforehand, and you didn't see Drago crack a smile not one time. And that could have just been, obviously, he's just not a smiley guy, but like, you should know that he's taking it very serious. And when y'all get in the center of the ring and them gloves hit yours, you feel them bricks. You see, look at me, exactly. You see,
oh yeah,
hey, not going nowhere. These hands is, and again, so the bell rings. Again, Paulo bounced around. Energy's good. For my boy to be in retirement, he bouncing. The knees are good. So he, doing his thing. And at some point, I want to talk about the styles of Rocky and Apollo fighting. I don't know.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, when we get to the Rocky part, let's have that conversation, because I can't wait. I'm so with you.
Okay.
So with you in that. But
yeah,
anyway,
the way they fight is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. Just again, these rounds are what, 3 minutes long, bro. All them punches from that man in 3 minutes? Absolutely not.
Well, so Apollo, for the record, he was 42 years old.
Okay. Yeah, bouncing knees is good. My boy is like floating in the ring, but you gotta be ready to take that. But I guess my question, I'll throw it back to y'all. The infamous question: should Rocky have thrown in the towel, or let my boy obviously go out how you want to go out?
That's going. So let's tuck it after we kind of respond to the fight, because that's absolutely on the docket. Mia G, how you feel about Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago? You're not being the sports person like that you've spoke about over and over, but you obviously understand emotion. How do you feel about this?
So I'm not a sports person, but I love boxing.
Okay. Sorry, one more thing. Ivan Drago was 29 years old. So Ivan Drago's 29. Apollo Creed is 42. Okay.
First of all,
oh, man.
when we see that first, I know we're gonna talk about Drago later, but when we saw that news story with him punching that mechanism and,
The
and that thing
mechanism.
reading off the charts like that, I was like, oh
Oh
no,
no. Oh no.
nah, there's no
Mm-mm.
way. And Apollo Creed, like even before when they were doing the press conference and when they got off the stage after Koloff called him a has-been, and he goes to Rocky and he's like, how did I do? You could tell he's just really married, like he's in love with the
Yeah.
whole sportsmanship, the whole bigger world of boxing, not just the sport, but the whole like Don King of it all.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the showy, just like the atmosphere and what comes with boxing, because he wasn't ready for that fight in any way, shape, or form. As we see later, Rocky was ready for that fight. There was no amount of steroids that Drago could have shot up to be ready for Rocky at the end of this movie. But um, Apollo Creed thought that he was gonna go in there, and I don't know. I don't know if this is just me or if I was misreading, because I don't know how you could look at that 6'6", almost 300-pound man and think that that was going to be light work in any way, because you could have never thought that that was going to be light work. Even if you thought you were a better fighter, just purely based off of his size and strength. Um, but you saw it real quick, and when he hit them gloves, it was like, oh, maybe I've miscalculated. Maybe,
You think?
ooh, ooh, maybe
uh,
I
No
didn't
going back.
think this all the way through. But even so, when he was fighting, the spirit that just would not let, like, all you wanted to, you just like throw in stop the fight.
Are you living in America now? You still
Like,
living in America? Are you living in America? Where you at now, boy? What happened to that boy?
Rocky throw in throw in
Throw
that
in the
blood.
damn towel.
Like, and it was literally just sitting there. I'm sitting there like, do something. But this man said if he dies, he dies.
Hey, listen, Drago was right
So
though.
these people are different.
Drago was right though.
He had
He
3 lines in this movie.
he had
He
three.
did 3 words.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Like in English.
The man said all of 3 lines,
He formed like a one sentence for the whole movie.
because that wife was his mouthpiece.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it was just a sad, because even at the end, when he's down and you see him convulsing, nobody was even like, it was like nobody was even paying it any attention. The cameras are all in Drago's face and they're screaming like, get a doctor.
I cannot be
It's
defeated.
it's like that. I know we're gonna come back to it about whether or not Rocky should have thrown in the towel, but it's almost kind of like that. It's really tough because you want to say that's how he would have wanted to go, but at the same time, his poor wife trying to swim through the crowd to get to him, and you just know there's nothing that could have been done at that point. Even if they got a doctor, it was done. What's done is done. And in that way where Mo says it's like losing a family member, you're almost like, this didn't have to happen. We didn't have to be here.
It's
But
that stubborn family member, stubborn family member that's of older in age, that just like Apollo. It's like, bro, just take the medicine. Just
you're
do
not
what the
cutting
doctor
off my
says.
leg.
Look at
But
me at two episodes in a row. You said that from that movie, and then the episode before you said it's your fault. See, it's
Yeah,
y'all. Like, look at her call back twice on that movie, man. Come on.
soul food.
Yeah. For me,
but that's all I got there
for me, again, now here's some challenges. I'm not gonna put this in things that the movie got wrong, but it feels very inaccurate. Apollo Creed was 221 pounds. Drago is 261 pounds. A 40-pound difference just don't feel like the same weight class. That's something that they didn't get right to me. It's not. I'm not gonna put it in that section because it didn't bother me so much. And who knows how it was in this era. We're in the 80s, and who knows if this is supposed to take place in the 80s. So, but that 40-pound difference don't feel accurate at all. And we'll get more into that when we get to Rocky versus Drago. But y'all said everything pretty much with this. And we're gonna have a discussion. Should he have thrown in the towel? But the only thing I'll say then, since y'all pretty much nailed it, I talked about the head leaning moment to keep from crying. Mrs. Creed, bro, I'm about to cry now, like, because we're at that age where we got kids, we got things to lose, and you want to walk away. You want to be able to walk away. The look on her face, bro. Seeing her man whipped up like that. He came out celebrating. Because even when he was doing the promo run, Adrian still even had that look like she kind of did a quick little smirk and came out of it because she was like, okay, he's going to be good because she believed in his confidence, but she still was like hesitant like she always is with everything throughout the films. When she seen her husband getting beat like that, like he's been fighting for 8 rounds and it's only the first round and he's bloodied up, and that teary-eyed look she had, oh my God. Like, bro, watching it this time, it resonated so deeply. My heart went out to her because I was like, and again, obviously it's going to end up turning into this is his demise, his death. But that moment, she's like hoping my husband is okay. This is this confident man that is this confident man, in shape, humorous, good looking. He's my man. He's my guy. And he's shown me so much, and I've always believed, and he was always bounced back. But what I'm seeing happening to him right now, and that's what got me. That's why I had to lean the head back. I was like, oh God, because it was so deep. It was so deep in that moment for her, and I'm so glad the director, got that shot, because that shot was so representative of where we all were. I'd imagine people in the 80s when the movie came out, and we're seeing the great Apollo Creed that we seen in 3 movies. We ain't never seen this happen to him. He coming out confident. He's doing a little tiptoe thing and everything, joking like, hey, man, put your hands up, man. Like, he's doing all that. And to see how bad he was. Now, when we get back to the corner, and we're about to go into what Ash asked, we get to the corner, and he's beat up really bad. And he tells Rocky, whatever you do, don't throw in the towel. Now we're here at the question. So I'll respond first since I'm already starting. Rocky should have threw in the towel. He should have threw in the towel, because we cannot be friends after this. But you're alive. If that's what me and Ash have conversations all the time. If that's what it takes for you not to talk to me, for me to stand on what I stand on, by any means, but this is for your own good. He should have threw in the towel. You were trying to honor his wishes, and this is not the time for that. Sometimes you got to stand on business, and you're going to be mad at me later, but you appreciate it. You'll be mad at me now, but you'll appreciate it later. And the fact that you were trying to honor that of what Apollo felt, even though he felt like he was a warrior, he felt like we don't change. This is who we are. We're born with killer instinct. This is who we are, which is why the line later in the movie is more effective that Rocky says in his last speech. But we'll get there. So for me, he should have thrown in the towel. You can be mad. We ain't never got to click up. I don't care. I love you and I miss you. We ain't never got to click up, but I'm saving your life. So for me, that's my opinion. He should have thrown the towel. Y'all can respond.
I agree. Um, when he had the hesitation to throw it in the second round, that would have been too late. Like the damage, like he probably with all the damage that was done to him, yeah. But like once he came back for that first round, yeah, he should have thrown in the towel.
He can
Again, like
still
you said,
talk.
right? We're you jacked up right now. Probably internal things are happening right now.
Yeah.
You can barely get a breath out. So yeah, you like you said, you'll be mad at me later, but you'll be alive to tell me you're mad at me. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Wow.
I would have thrown in the towel. You would have just had to be mad at me, bro. I still, could have went out and fought him. And that's what it was. So
I'll let you know
definitely,
you really done. Like this let you know, like, okay, you done. It's exhibition. Anyway, Mia.
I agree. I think he should have thrown in the towel as many times where even though I knew he wasn't going to, I was just like, just
I know.
please.
It's like Ricky getting shot. You hope every time he get away.
Like you know it's coming, but you're like, oh man. Yeah, because I feel like he would have forgave him eventually,
Yeah.
you know.
I agree.
He would have eventually forgiven him for throwing in the towel. He would have still been there. His wife could have talked to him about why it was important for him to throw in the towel, and he would have come around. But the world will never know because now we don't have that opportunity because you're gone.
Yeah.
You know, he told him, don't throw in the towel no matter what. And he didn't, trying to honor his wishes. But now, you know,
Look at his face now.
like you were talking about his wife, you woke up that morning thinking your husband was going to go have an exhibition fight. You, you get there, you kiss him, okay, have a good fight. And now he's not coming home. That is devastating.
The pride.
Mhm.
The pride.
And as we see, the effects of that were felt in ways that span across a whole new trilogy of movies.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's just what an iconic character to leave that kind of
Mm,
print, you know?
yeah. That's why I said going back to 3 to get to live with him a little bit more because they get him out of here so soon is beneficial. Lastly, just on that note, before we go into, I guess we can go into Rocky and Adrian, but um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Every time I see it, it's like you come in living in America, now you're dying in America. There's something very poetic in everything that they're doing in this film. I think they're doing things that are intentional, and I think they're doing things that are not intentional that ends up aging really well. And I think that living in America, he came out living, and now he died in America. You know what I mean? And so sad, just sad. Every time I see this, it hurts so much watching it because it's like, at what cost? But maybe we could be there. Who knows? Maybe one of us have that as our more of the story. So who knows? So let's get into Rocky and Adrian. Uh, Ash, what you got to say about Rocky and Adrian
Like as a couple together.
as a couple? How they storyline? I mean, we could tie Rocky stuff into it. Like obviously, we're gonna save the Rocky and Drago element. That's kind of all Rocky, Drago, and
Mhm.
unless y'all want to do Drago first, like just as a lone plot.
Um, I mean, I don't have much about Drago, just a little bit. So if y'all wanted to get him out like the way as an individual, we could. Don't matter to me.
Yeah, let's talk about Drago.
Okay. Okay, we'll go for it. Lead us in then.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, funny story. I actually learned how to speak Russian in elementary school. Of course, I retained as much as I could, but I don't have that much of it, but I still have a little because you retain when you're little. So anytime there's anything about Russia, it's always just perks my interest a little bit because I'm like, oh, okay. Um, but Russian, because my teacher, she was from Russia. And they are a notoriously cold disposition, um, just as a people. And there's a stark difference in every aspect of just how they carry themselves, how they speak, just how they interact with each other and others in a comparison to like American culture. It's all like uh, anyway, he barely spoke. He was stoic. He was huge, but it was almost like he was a machine being controlled by,
I'm glad you
you
said that
know,
line because I can't wait.
his wife and his trainer, not even trainer, his like I think it was his manager or whatever the case may be.
It's Don King.
Um, but he was a part of this like a symbol for his country almost. But he was also on steroids.
I can't wait to get there.
So as a character, I feel like he was I wouldn't even say he was a worthy opponent because he wasn't naturally this big strong fighter the way that we see Rocky um like the difference in the training montage when you see he's in this building, he's hooked up to all these machines, he's hooked up to all these monitors, and Rocky's just out there in the field, just training, good old fashioned, dirty training. And in that moment, I knew who was gonna win just based off of the training montage. But Drago is he's not he has no redeeming qualities as a character. None whatsoever. I didn't like a thing about him at all. And yeah, I he just was the person that I was just hoping Rocky would be at the end.
Hmm. Okay. What about you, Ash? What you got to say about Ivan Drago?
Um, Pretty similar to what Mia said. Like it was like he was a machine, like a puppet for the country. He's the face of the Russian boxing. You know what I mean? Out there, um, it was like he was a monster. He really, obviously, like you said, a man of a few words. Didn't really say much. It was almost like you couldn't even believe he was married to that lady. Um, but we didn't. I mean, they didn't dig deep into him as a person. It was just like this new guy coming over to the States trying to take over the boxing, community. But yeah, I didn't have too much about him, just the difference in the training, like Mia said. Obviously, he's hooked up to the machines, all this technology to increase his strength and got the syringe to the arm, juicing him as much as they can. Um, yeah, just he was a cold individual. It was just like you said, you see Apollo dying in the ring, that didn't resonate, at all. Like just as a human, compassion. We're humans. So I was like, dang, maybe this dude is a machine. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Like,
AI. He's AI in 1985.
right. Yo, like if he dies, he dies. And that's just what it is.
I
But
cannot be defeated.
right, he just sounds like a robot. Yeah, that's it. Other than that dude was a monster. He was big with the assistance. But even without the steroids, he probably would have been a problem just off of the stature. You know what I'm saying?
I got issues with that too. I'm
But
trying to
yeah,
hold
that's it.
back, but I got issues with that.
Mm.
Have at it.
I'll let that marinate as far as the steroid part of it. But yeah, for me, Ivan. So a couple of things I want to note. We're really getting in our journalistic bag. So Russia had an issue with the film at the time. A few things that they.
Sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the things was the Cold War allegory. They said the film is often seen as a Cold War allegory, with Rocky Balboa representing American values and Drago embodying the Soviet Union's perceived strength and brutality. The negative portrayal of the Soviet Union. Some Soviet officials and media outlets viewed Rocky IV as a deliberate attempt to portray the Soviet Union as an evil empire and to promote negative stereotypes about Russia. They go into one more thing I'll note. Ivan Drago, the symbol. Ivan Drago, with his cold, emotionless demeanor and focus to brute strength, became a symbol of the Soviet Union's perceived lack of humanity and values. So they definitely had issues with this. You know, in my job, I work with a few people that are from Russia. Ironically enough, I mean, I don't have conversations with them because they don't obviously know the language, English language, as well as I don't know the Russian language. But you know, they seem to be very cordial, seem to be very humane. So I get. I mean, this is an '85, so it's different. You know, I get where they were going in. For Sylvester Stallone to take this step is a very ambitious step. Unfortunately, it did step on some toes, but it was ambitious. Like nonetheless, to be somebody from New York, I believe he's from New York or the East Coast or something like that, and to take this ambitious step to make this bigger than life thing and make it country for country, it's huge. But as far as Ivan, just to bring it back to what we were talking about, one notable thing I want to bring in that his wife was actually a double gold medalist in swimming, and she came up with the idea of him, you know, boxing somebody in America. So I thought that was interesting. People don't really tend to talk about her attributes, like, because that's an interesting thing. Like, oh, she's actually a swimmer, so she's top tier as well. And then, you know, his formal name being called the Siberian Express. And then obviously after the Apollo scene, they changed his name to I think Death from Above. You know, it was like, whoa, like he's definitely Grim Reaper vibe, you know, at this point. But yeah, and then yeah, just later in the movie we see Drago and the needle enhancement, and you know I'll speak a little bit about that a little bit more. But yeah, Ivan Drago, you know, he was also in the Russian military, so he had a different kind of discipline. He had a different kind of mentality. And coming over to America, and real quick before we get into our other concept, you know what? I'll save I want to speak about America a little more when we get to the end of the Rocky part of it, because I think that's where the conversation needs to be had. Okay, so now let's go back to Rocky and Adrian, and then this could be Rocky and Adrian as well as Rocky. So, but we'll start with Rocky and Adrian. We'll go into Rocky, and then obviously Rocky will lead into Rocky and Ivan. So, Ash, what do you want to say about the Rocky and Adrian plot?
I love Rocky and Adrian. He was so smitten about her, just even from Rocky 1 all the way to now. Like, he was just so into her, and she was so shy and timid, and just, you know, just from the beginning, like, probably didn't think any dude was really ever checking for her in that way. You know, she worked a little pet store job, kind of had her brother who was, you know, insane.
Yeah.
And so they were like polar opposites, her and Paulito. But he was digging her. He liked her, you know. So just to fast forward to this Rocky and seeing her how confident she is, and she's more. Obviously, they've been married for what? I forgot what he said. Like 7 years. Oh, 9 years at this point. So she knows Rocky. He knows her, you know, and even Rocky coming home, surprising her with something. I forgot what he bought her, but like still
a cake with them. A watch, but yeah, and then the cake, obviously, with them, like the boxing.
Oh, yeah. But that's so cute to me. Like, this is 9 years in, and you still are infatuated with her, and her with you. But yeah, I love their dynamic, and they got through a lot of things. You know, Mickey dying and let's see, Apollo dying.
Mm-hmm.
So just having each other to lean on in those tough situations, I thought was beautiful. And of course, we had that moment where she was like, "You saw how strong he is. You can't win." Oh my God, that broke my heart. That was the one moment where it's like she was terrified. You know, like
It
I
should
gotta
be.
give her yes. You just like you saw what happened to Apollo. Like
Y'all
what
just
makes you
ate
think
breakfast, bro.
that's what I'm saying. What makes you think it's gonna be different? And she never not believed in him. So it's like this moment here, he was just I'm sure this devastated him. You know, this is my last person like that always believes in me against all the odds. And then in this moment, she just didn't think you could do it. Um, and he had a nice little speech right after she said that. I wish I wrote it down because he was saying some good stuff. And if he was writing that, shout out to Sylvester because
Yeah, Sylvester, he get busy on this
yeah,
Rocky
like
joint.
I don't remember exactly what he said. Something along the lines of like, you know, he's gonna have to kill me. He was like
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna have the heart to stand in front of me.
Yeah.
And to do that, he's got to be willing to die himself. Like he was talking
Hey,
some
oh man,
shit.
talking that talk.
Like, hey man, look that up, bro. But
Yeah, I get
yeah,
it. I pull it up. I pull it up. Keep going.
that quote was fire. I'm like, he was. You could tell my mind is made up. There's nothing you could say to make me not go through this. Kind of similar to Apollo. Nobody could talk him out of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though you have these angels on your shoulder, like, hey, dude, I'm telling you, you saw what just happened. Like, we had a whole death, and you're still talking about you gotta avenge or I gotta do this because he felt guilty. You know, you didn't throw in the towel. You could have saved Apollo's life, but yeah, just and I have stuff about Rocky as a fighter and stuff, but I know we'll probably tap into that when we get to the Drago fight. But yeah, just Rocky and Adrian alone. Yeah, I mean, she was in her full. It was refreshing to see her as a full-grown woman and not so timid, more confident. And her speaking up on her feelings. You
Yeah.
know, giving sound advice and not being afraid to hurt his feelings. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's the quote. Rocky says, "Oh, Adrian. Adrian always tells the truth. No, maybe I can't win. Maybe the only thing I can do is just take everything he's got. But to beat me, he's going to have to kill me. And to kill me, he's got to have the guts to stand in front of me. And to do that, he's got to be willing to die himself. I don't know if
Mm,
he's ready to do that. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, man. That was deep.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Mia G.
Ooh-wee. One thing you cannot do is tell your man that he can't win.
Oh,
Like, you can't.
man.
Um,
Yikes.
I get it. She was scared, you know, rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can't do that. um, especially in this particular circumstance, I feel like Rocky has so much guilt on his shoulders. He felt like this wasn't just about fighting to him, this was very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that she came around when, she showed up, but he needed Adrian to be on his side and in his corner. Um, it's tough. I love their relationship. You can tell that they've like even though the movies were blurring together for
Yeah, yeah,
me,
yeah.
but even just the montage of over the course of their relationship that was shown, you see that they've been through many transformations as people together in their relationship. And like Ash said, seeing how like the woman that she grew into versus how she started. Uh, but I believe that their relationship has so much to do with that she is terrified of losing him. And in that moment, that's probably all she could think about was, ain't no way. You're not doing this because I'm not gonna end up like you're not gonna leave me and my baby for the sake of this fight in your pride. But like Ash said, the speech that he gave just let you know where his head was at and how he felt about it, how serious he was about what he was about to go do. And you knew that they would get back, even though she didn't. I'm not gonna say she didn't believe in him, because maybe she did, but she was just scared.
Yeah.
In that moment, and she was doing what she could to try and convince him not to go through with it. And then, yeah,
She didn't want to
everything
be
that
Mrs.
happened
Creed.
just about Rocky himself.
Yeah.
She didn't want to be Mrs. Creed.
Mm-hmm.
The way they panned over to Mrs. Drago and Mrs. Creed in that fight. Then we get the later scene of Mrs. Drago and Mrs. Balboa. She didn't want to be Mrs. Creed. And I felt Adrian where she was coming from. Because for all we know, Adrian could have, even though Rocky beat him in the second film, she could have always felt like, yeah, but I still feel like Apollo's a better fighter. Because in the third film, Apollo's the one that got you back. Because she's seen him lose to, because in the third film, Clubber Lang was trying to holler at Adrian. Like, why don't you come over here to a real man? And he lost. So who brought Rocky back? Apollo. So Adrian could have always felt like Apollo low-key is a better fighter. You just had more heart in the second film than he did at that moment. So seeing Apollo go down, the great one, it's like you can't win. Because I'm looking at Apollo like he's better than you in this thing. It's deeper for him than it is for you. And I spoke about it before, but Adrian was the first one that knew before at the press conference. I feel like she was the first one that knew. Rocky was still like, I don't know, bro, but Adrian was the first one that knew. Like, the first one that knew that this might not be good for Apollo, because Apollo was selling it at the conference, but she did the smile and came back. She knew right away. And then she said, and here's the thing that was interesting. Like, we talked about his understanding as far as where he was at, Rocky. But there's a line that she says. She says that she could not understand all of his other she could understand all of his other reasons for fighting, except for this one. And this is probably the wildest line in the movie, bro. Sorry, you stupid ass. But she said this is the thing that she couldn't understand, and it throws me off. It's like, what do you mean you can't understand?
Right.
Now, I don't know if this was like a writing issue that they may have not understood when they were, because sometimes you could write stuff and you're in the flow of things, you don't think about it all the way through. You just, okay, I wrote it, perform it. And I think in this moment it might have been one of those scenarios, because it's like, why would Adrian say that? She's a very intelligent, very renowned character. Why would she say she couldn't understand this? But then she said he's already gone. You can't bring him back. And she tells him it's suicide. You can't win. And I will be, since I am the one male on this podcast, there's just going to be certain moments as the man, as the leader of the household, there's going to be certain moments where it's like, you may not get where I'm going right now, but there's something in me that I got to do this. Because as mothers, as women, there's going to be moments you're going to be like, babe, look, you don't understand where I'm coming from, but I got to do this. And we got to respect it. We got to respect. All right, babe, I don't get it, but you passionate about it. I got to rock with you. Okay, well, I'll be here when you get back. And this is one of those moments where Rocky's like, And that was hurtful because it's like I've took the fight already. And now I don't have Apollo around. I don't have Mickey around. And I'm taking the fight. And not only am I taking the fight, I'm going to Russia. And then when he gets ready to travel to Russia, she stays in the house. Again, we'll see later. Obviously, she pull up, but this is not the way you. This is not the way you want to see your man off. Like he could die, bro. This is we see this all the time in relationships. It's like you're standing on where you're coming from so strongly that you're like, I'm not about to do nothing. You don't ask me. And it's like the stakes are there. You got to put a set aside what you're feeling. And it's the fact that he's looking in the window and sees her and she don't come out while he's putting stuff in the, like, come on, bro. Like, you can't do that. But I get where she was coming from. Like, she was so mad at his ego. At least what she felt it was. I'm mad. I'm so mad at your ego. Why are you doing this? You know, so interesting thing. But that's kind of how all I got as far as Rocky and Adrian. So y'all want to get into Rocky / Rocky and Ivan? Y'all think it's okay? All right. Mia, let's go into it. Rocky in Russia.
Rocky in Russia. Boy, oh boy. That is some different type of terrain they got out there.
I got my coat on. Why you think I got my coat on? You know what I mean? It's cold out here.
Polly said, hold on now. Why would you bring me out here? Why would you what is this cabin? What are we doing? But you could see Rocky was just so focused. He didn't want any frill. He wanted to go out there and really train. And that is one of my favorite parts of this movie is the training montage. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a little piece of this that's in my things that they didn't get right, but we'll talk about that later. I do appreciate the art of training, especially for boxing. It's a different kind of training that you have to go through. And Rocky in all of his films, from what I've seen in my little bit of research, training is such a huge part of the film or just his character, how he prepares himself. And this training montage was just so beautifully done. The juxtaposition between him and his, he's using the rope pull for like rocks and boulders while Ivan is, lifting weights with the machines, and he's running ahead of the car with the guys who are supposed to be tailing and chaperoning him. And you just see he just has like a bare bones, very raw grit and grind to how he pushes his body and how he trains himself. And that is ultimately what is the difference between like having heart and just doing something because you're good at it and because you can. Like you can tell that there's a certain like mental place that he goes to and like a passion and a real, it's almost like a spiritual experience between him, his body, what he's doing, what he's preparing himself for mentally. And with Drago, you see him, and it's just a very robotic. They're pushing him, but you don't see any heart behind it. There's no feeling there. He's doing it to see how far he can do it. How much can these steroids, like how fast can I go? How much can this push me? How much can this give me? But there's no, like, Rocky is doing this because this is what he loves to do. This is what he has to do. And it's just in him. It's not on him. And with Drago, it's on you, but it's not in here.
Ash.
Um, yeah, I mean, Rocky's old school, man. I mean, he been doing this for a long time. Like you said, Drago is an amateur. Rocky, he's been the champ for a long time and
Mm-hmm.
out there in the trenches, you know. And just to look at his body transformation throughout the
Oh
movies
yeah.
is
Oh yeah.
crazy. Like he just was getting more shredded and shredded, and I'm like, yo, shout out to the workout plan and the chef or whoever, like
Mm-hmm.
on the good eats. Like, I mean, he was
Facts.
super cut, and I ain't looked at Sylvester in that way, but I was like, okay, Adrian,
He was like, all right.
hey, I mean, I ain't mad, I ain't mad,
I ain't
but
mad.
yeah, but just to see his transition physically throughout the movies, it was nice to see, and just him as a person too. Like he was an optimistic guy. Like he seemed like he always saw things half full.
Mm.
He rarely. I mean, but he was realistic too, because he would be like, I don't know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
And talking to Apollo, like,
yeah,
just like, bro, you think, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like y'all not paying attention, but he really dropping gems.
hmm
When he was talking to Apollo, like, dude, we're not those same guys.
yeah, yeah. You still there, Ash?
Ah,
Oh no, you about to cook? No.
But
Oh, there we go. All right.
did y'all hear all I said?
Nah, you
we
froze
lost
up.
you there for a second.
You froze up a little bit. You
Oh,
said we're
dang.
not them same guys. That's where we left off at.
Okay. So my bad, must be the internet. But
That's all good.
yeah, like if you listen to what Rocky's saying, he really do be saying some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot of fluff. He really be having meaningful things to say, but I think the way they set it up is kind of overlooked. Um but like yeah, I mean, and he looked up to Apollo. He's a family guy, a true fighter, a natural fighter, come from a small town. Um but yeah, I mean, I just had Rocky was a solid guy, and then when they got to the fight, can we talk about it now? Like
Well,
the
Ivan and
difference.
Rocky.
Well, the stylistically how Rocky was fighting
Okay,
Drago
well,
versus.
let me respond into
Yeah.
this, and then we'll get right to because we about to go ahead and land this plane. I'll say, as far as Rocky, of course, Rocky and Ivan. Rocky, if you really watch this movie, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Rocky. To sit ringside with Apollo and not throwing a towel, and then to fight Drago. And then the training, he's going out there, he's being watched, and he don't, he declares his mind. His wife is not supportive in the initial, and then yeah, it's just so all of that, like there's just a preparation towards it. But we can, yeah, we can go ahead and get into the fight, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we get into it finally. Rocky comes out humble when they do the press conference. Rocky's not saying much at all. He's taking, he's focused on the fight strictly. And they ask him, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Russia. And that's what it is. Rocky had a bigger play at hand, which obviously we'll see at his closing speech. Rocky comes over there. We like I've talked about the parallel of the training montage. Ivan Drago has all of the equipment, all of the things that have put him ahead, and then Rocky has he has the bare necessities that will strengthen him and get him prepared. And now we get to the actual fight after all of the training and everything. We finally get to the fight. So I think I threw it in Mia's court first. Ash, I'm gonna throw it back in your court. What you want to say
um,
about this fight?
it was a great fight. It was a hell of a fight. Just to think that Rocky took all those punches in the first round. Again, same as Apollo. Like it seemed like Drago was kind of letting you get it off a little bit, and then once he starts swinging, it's like he don't stop. And the way that Rocky fights, like he takes a lot of punishment. He's a defensive fighter. Like
Hmm.
he takes hits and hits and hits, and then he'll find his way in to try to, like, obviously he was a bigger guy, so you go into the body to try to, the head should follow, but you're taking so much punishment to even just get into that window.
Mm.
And I mean, Drago fighting dirty. He in Russia. He feeling good. I mean, we wrestling at this point. So you throwing him, and like Rocky getting up, looking at him like, oh, that's what we doing. That's
Yeah,
what we do. We do this
yeah.
out here in Russia. Okay.
He looked at him
Uh,
crazy too. Like,
yeah, he got up like, whoa. And then that was in the first round. Second round, Rocky he gets the cut. I didn't realize it was so early in the fight that he cut Drago. I thought it was
I
like
didn't either.
later.
I didn't either.
That's how it's like, it's how fast it's going. But when he cut Drago, I was too geeked. Like we human, you human just like me, boy. I was getting so hyped, and now you realize, oh, he's not a machine. You, even with the syringes in your arm and the juices, like you still, what I mean. You didn't match your match. I'm not Apollo. Let's not get it twisted. And that's no slight to Apollo, because I personally think Apollo is a better fighter than Rocky.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No doubt.
Just because he doesn't take damage like Rocky does. I think how Rocky wins the fight is his grit deep down. He just keeps pushing. He knows he's gonna feel the pain later, but it's like he don't feel it the whole time he's fighting. But once he's done, obviously all those injuries and all that pain, he feels it. But I think he just had more grit, and he knew what he was fighting for, so he couldn't lose this fight. And just to even go 12 rounds with him is insane, because again, we see the level of punches that and the punishment you're taking. This is just round 1 and 2, dude. Like, and so you had to knock him out to win, because you got knocked down how many times?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were not going to win the fight if you didn't knock this man out. Um, but I think one of those rounds, when he did a Superman punch on Rocky, like he had him on the ropes, and then he like jumped up, and then that's when Rocky like tackled him on the ground. I got so hype on that, 'cause I'm like, oh yeah, we playing dirty. We all dirty then. Like, we all finna, the coaches coming in the ring. Like, yeah, it is what it is. So he pretty much buzzed off at that point. But yeah, really good fight. I think there was a moment where Drago in the corner said he's made of iron.
Mhm.
He's not human. He's made of iron. Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm like,
Yeah. Huh?
yeah. You think
What?
you made of iron, right? Nah,
Iron
this what I got.
Horse.
But good
Oh
fight,
man.
man.
I'm trying to keep my composure. Me, G. Mm.
You know what? I don't even have a crazy amount to say about the fight. I think Ash said everything beautifully. It was just, I was standing up watching this. So I'm like, I was standing up watching like this scene. And I'm like, I'm talking to the TV, like, come on, Rocky, come on. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I love a film that portrayed, like, because a lot of sports films like to tie everything up in a pretty little bow, and you
Mhm.
like, oh, first round knockout, something like
Yeah, yeah,
real,
yeah. Ridiculous.
but you see it's going round for round. And it's not like Rocky's just beating the brakes off this guy. No, he's really got to dig in there, take some punishment, like Ash said. But you see, and this is what I love about the juxtaposition with the training montages, you see how that real grit matches up against that, that machine, if you will. And in the end, he just like Rocky had really prepared himself, not even knowing what Drago was really doing, because again, the juice. which really bothers me. I hate that.
Oh,
Like
we're gonna
it
get there because I got
bothers
stuff about that
me.
that's like, yeah.
Oh my
I've
goodness.
been trying to let it marinate, but trust me,
I hate that that wasn't like a thing that they addressed. Like he's doing all this because he's on like a
I got a
weird
whole
way.
different direction to take it, but yeah,
But okay, but like that it bothered me, but I'm like, okay, we see obviously Rocky is the better fighter because he didn't need all to win. He really just went out there and did what he needed to do. One, to stay in the fight because it was ooh listen, but he had the heart and he persevered and he won, you know.
yeah.
I I hate that. I guess I do kind of hate the way Russia is portrayed. Like when you think back on it and the
Is
way that
it is this a things you change?
I don't even know if I would say that though, just
Okay.
based on the historical context. I don't think, I mean, let me marinate on that. You
Okay.
do your
Because
thing.
if even though it may not fit that part of your notes, maybe while you're thinking on it, maybe consider bringing it up because if you bring that up, I think I can chime in with you on that portrayal because even Ash, I think she might have a little bit about that as well. Just for me to conclude, you know, Rocky's getting his butt whooped and he's thrown around, but he's already surpassed Apollo as far as survival goes and going in the round two. And Ash had highlighted that he had cut him. And bro, when he cut Ivan Drago's eye, because he was in the ropes, Ivan was getting busy on him. Then out of nowhere, he threw a crazy haymaker and cut. You know how hard you got to hit somebody to cut their eye with boxing gloves? And man, listen, I didn't cry, but boy, if you talk about getting hyped, Apollo's former trainer, former cut corner coach, comes out and he says, "You cut him. You hurt him. You see, he's not a machine. He's a man.
Mm-hmm.
No pain. No pain." When he said, I said, "Oh man, bro, I was at work taking my notes, bro. I about hopped out my office, nigga. Like, bruh, because he had me so high. You see, he's not a machine. He is a man. Oh man, man, that actor that played that coach. Oh my gosh, bro.
I think you're talking about Tony Burton.
Yeah, the black
Duke.
dude, the bald black dude.
Yeah.
Man, when because even then he had a little moment right before Rocky started training. He was like, "Hey, I know you got to do what you got to do." He was real chill about it, but he understood the assignment. And man, when he said, "See, I told you," man, bruh, I was so hyped because that made me feel like any adversary against you, like, bruh, you think it's this way, but it's the other way. And bruh, when I seen, I was like, oh my man, I was so hyped, bro. I can't explain to you, bro. This is a movie that came out in 1985. It's like, bro, I've seen this at least 4 or 5 times, and the fact that like this moment it still hit, come on, bro. So there was a mutual respect at the end of the fight where Drago even had to respect Rocky for what he did. As far as like, okay, not only is he made of steel, but you know, he was, I forgot what the quote was that Ivan said, but I mean, I was Ivan early in the fight said, "I must break you," you know. But this is the fight that Ivan had wanted, that his wife had wanted, this big notoriety fight, and realizing that like, okay, it's different. And it's a beautiful piece because during the Rocky montage, he's getting stronger. This is the best version of Rocky throughout the films because now he got all the training that he got from Apollo. And obviously, we didn't talk about it a little bit, but like when he left the house after the conversation with Adrian, we get a montage of the training that they had. There's no easy way out, you know. So he already got the offensive side as well as the defense, and now we get a different version of his strength. Uh, So yeah, I think that's a fair thing. Do y'all want to? Do y'all got anything I want to say as far as the speech to Russia?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
If I can change, he said, well, we came into the ring, two men wanted to kill each other. And the biggest point of that, I just say before we get into our next section, is that he says, if I can change or you can change, then we can all change. Which ties into what Apollo said, that like you can't change. This is who you are. Just like who Apollo was. But in the middle of the fight, again, the Ivan Drago line, I can't remember what he said to Rocky, but it was a humbling line that recognized real in the moment. Whatever the line that he said, whatever it was like, okay, I respect you. Ivan didn't respect Apollo. And coming to the end of this fight, and even then we see Ivan, like the dude come in and talk about calling him stupid and all kind of crazy stuff. And Ivan's like, hey, bro. He pulled him in a chokehold with the boxing gloves, like, bro, you better chill out. I'll knock you out for real. Like, stop playing with me, bro. So anyway, but yeah, but that's the whole speech of it. And then he, obviously shouts out his kid. And that's the film, man. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film. So let's get into our next section before we get out of here. Mia G, character you relate to or identify with the most?
This was a tough one for me because again, sometimes it's hard for me to see myself in in anybody. But if I had to choose, I would say Adrian.
Mm.
Because believe it or not, I may have been a lot more timid at an earlier time in my life. And the older I get, the more life experience, being a mom, all that has kind of brought me into myself a little bit more. Um, a lot more sure of who I am, sure of myself, and confident to speak up and speak my mind. And so I feel like that's probably the best I can do. And for that reason. But yeah, I have to say Adrian.
Mm. And I'm mad at it. Ash.
That was beautiful, Mia. I love that.
Yeah, and I do too.
Same as you, it was hard for me. I'm like, dang, I don't think I can find anybody. I can't find me in here. But I end up landing on Apollo, just in the sense of not giving up. Um, Sometimes there comes a time in our lives where you have to be willing to risk it all, or die on that ledge for what you believe in. Not in the literal sense, but like, he was just so sure in his decision, regardless of the outcome. And sometimes it be like that. So that's what I went with.
Mine is kind of a twofold situation. It's Rocky, but when I was younger, it was Apollo. It's the classic white men can't jump conversation. It's the classic Sidney Dean and Billy Hoyle. Do you want to win or do you want to look good? And that's kind of Rocky and Apollo.
Mm.
So it's Rocky, but when I was younger, it was Apollo. All right, Mig G, get to
Okay.
stepping. Character that you could have done without.
So even though I know that he was a big part of the story as a regard, like as it relates to Ivan Drago, but I really couldn't stand Nikolai Koloff. Like the guy who was doing most of the talking for him when his wife wasn't, he was just so infuriating to me.
Mm.
But I hated the way he spoke about Drago. I hated the way he spoke about Apollo. It was like, you don't even know me.
Mm.
Chill out.
Chill out, bro. Chill out like, oh, man.
He could go. Like, let the wife do the talking. We don't even need you.
You get to stepping.
Okay.
Ash, what about you?
So originally I had Drago's wife to get the step in. Just because I know that you end up walking out on him, like, so I just thinking about that aspect of it, like, he lost, and then y'all get divorced. Like you left when it got hard. You know, I didn't like that aspect, but I know they didn't really show that in the movie. But so if I didn't go that route, I guess Paulie for this film, because I mean he really didn't have much to add to this film. So I mean I could just go with Paulie, just the strength of that.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah.
I gotta go the robot. I get them trying to have some like comic relief, but we just didn't need it. Even though it looks really cool in the 80s. But we just didn't need the robot as a character. They try to really provide comic relief, and it was. I mean, maybe in 80s humor, maybe going to the theater, eating popcorn, drinking a Pepsi out of the big giant cup. Maybe it was funny in that time. I wasn't there, obviously, but in this time, nah, it was not it. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with the robot. Mia G, favorite song in the movie. We got a movie where we got a lot of songs, y'all.
You
Yeah.
know, I wanted to go with one classic, but I had to go with another. And I just have to pick Living in America just because it's James Brown. And you can't beat James Brown.
You can't though. You can't be James Brown. Can, can I get into it? Ash, favorite song in the movie.
So I had No Easy Way Out by Robert Tepper. Um, I think it just went so well with the scene, like the training, and it just got me hype. I think it's a good workout song. I think you can work out to it. Um, I don't know, it was tough, but I landed on that though.
Well, I had No Easy Way Out originally as well. Because it's really there's no easy way out. Dun, dun. It's so it's drenched in 80s, like the
Mhm.
synth, the rock, like all that. But I'm gonna go with War. It's the song that they were fighting to in the ring that, and I've alluded to it in our last episode that we did as a trio. Was like that. Um, they had that like all the synth stuff and like that, and it's so good. Like, cause uh, there's this moment when they're fighting in the ring, and like where they doing the freeze frames. Y'all remember when they're punching each other and they're psh, 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 like they're
Mhm.
doing this really good freeze frame thing. So it really works, and so it's War. It's an instrumental, but I really enjoy it for what it is. Um, so I gotta go with that. But my original was what Ash had. Like obviously we're siblings, so we connect on that level. But yeah. All right, Mia G, things that you would change about the movie.
Okay. So the one thing that I had in my notes before we got to talking was that whole, like, as much as I love the training montage, um, and I do love that training montage very much. I just watched a documentary about Mount Everest, and watching Rocky run up that mountain without any mountain climbing equipment really just bothered me. Like, wait, what? In the snow? You just gonna run up the side of this mountain and stand at the peak? It was a little bit, it was just, I get the sentiment, but you can run up a hill. You cannot run up the side of a mountain. You just can't do that in Russia in the snow and ice. It's just not, it doesn't track. But beautiful visual, great for, the feeling of the film. And then second, once we got to talking, I guess I didn't. like the way Russia was depicted in the film because it was very biased and there wasn't very much nuance to it at all. Um and this is an entire country of people. Uh there was literally what? I don't even now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that this is just my recollection of viewing, but it seems like Ludmilla was the only woman depicted in Russia at all. Like, and I don't know, it just kind of came off like, you know how they have, this is going to be a really weird and crazy and almost ridiculous comparison. But do you remember how in the Fairly Odd Parents, you have the fairies and then you had the pixies, and they were like the dudes in the suits, and they were like, it was like that to me.
Mm.
Like it was just portraying them all as like this one type of person. And all of the American characters had color and nuance. But when it came to Russia, the characters, the country, it was just very one note. And I didn't necessarily like that. I don't know if they could change it, tonally,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just bothered me a bit.
I'm not mad at it. Ash.
I do think it was biased. I think they came over with respect. Like even in the press conferences, they just seemed excited to be here to be able to fight. And that's something I didn't really notice the prior times watching it, which I should have brought that up in the beginning. But so I was gonna say, oh, I kind of was feeling bad for them because I'm like, they did come over here with good intentions, and it didn't, they just wanted their fighter to fight. So, and it just kind of went left. But yeah, so what I have is I didn't like the fact that there was no doctor in the ring after Apollo was laid out. Um, you had all these press people was able to get into the ring. There wasn't one doctor. Like usually right away you're gonna have the medic come in and see what's going on. He's just pretty much laying in Rocky's arms and there's not one doctor in sight. Didn't like that. Uh, Rocky having chaperones when he got to Russia, like those two guys that had to stay with him in the car and like pretty much follow what he did. I thought that was unnecessary. Like, why do I have chaperones? I'm grown. Um, and then just them chanting Rocky's name at the end of the Russian fight, like I doubt it. I didn't buy it. Um, I didn't believe it. But that's it.
That's good. It's funny you say that because I have that as well. I think Russia cheering for Rocky as much as much as it's a momentum builder for us viewers, but in reality, when they had the level of hatred they had for Rocky, when they brought out Ivan Drago with the flag, nah, bro. Like that's just not realistic. This is I'm sorry to say this, but it's white savior complex. I think it's unintentional. I don't think they were trying to go for that, but it's definitely white savior complex. It just don't feel believable. Like they genuinely hated Rocky. Rooting for Rocky wouldn't have been now. If they rooted for Rocky after the speech, then I might change how I feel. But they rooted for Rocky in the midst of the fight. And then my other thing, because I really don't have a lot, Rocky not having an interaction with Mrs. Creed. That was a like I didn't even have that in my notes until we started talking. I just added that. That should have been in there. Like he should have had a conversation with Mrs. Creed. That it would have felt a lot more down home. We just kind of get that moment with Mrs. Creed, and then that's the end of it. So we should have definitely had that.
That makes me think of something, and I have to get this thought out real quick. In the Creed movies, did Felicia Rashad's character ever interact with Rocky?
She's a different. I think they recast it, so
They did recast her, but she was still supposed to be the same wife.
yeah.
I don't think they really did interact too. No, not really.
That's interesting. You would think that they would have those characters like who've known each other forever. Like, yeah, they should have had an interaction in the at the end of this, or like, after Apollo Creed passed, and they should have interacted in the spinoff. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very small thing that shouldn't have been that complicated, but they made it more complicated.
Mhm.
All right, before we get out of here, more of the story. Mia G, what's the more of the story in your opinion?
Okay. I had hard work and determination will always win. And I mean that in the sense, like, again, coming back to my favorite scene, the training montage, seeing the real work that Rocky was putting in versus the effort that was helped along on the other side. It just was like a something that I think is true to just everyday life. If you really work hard and you don't try to cut corners and you're not trying to find the easy fix or the thing, you're not following that get quick that get rich quick or just in any aspect of life. If you really put in work the way that you're supposed to put in work, that's always going to beat out anybody who's cutting themselves short or cutting corners. Like they say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
That's right.
It's facts.
Ash.
Yeah, we're pretty aligned, Mia G. I said you will have to encounter tough obstacles in life in which you will have to work hard and dig deep to overcome.
Mm. I have some I didn't get to say. I forgot this part. I didn't put it in my notes, but I didn't like as far as just real quick on the segment before things you would change. I didn't like that they gave Drago the steroid. It wasn't necessary. I felt
Mm.
like Drago was just an exceptional athlete. I do not like that. I'm like, bro, that's whack to me. Like when I seen that this time, I was like, y'all didn't have to do that. We don't need him to be extra. He should have just been this exceptionally gifted Russian fighter. He came from the army of Russia or the Soviet Union. They didn't need that. I didn't. When I seen that, I said, bro, get out of here. Why would y'all do that? And that's why if I'm Russia, I would be pissed. If anything else, that would be the moment I'd be pissed. Oh, so Russia athletes need steroids to compete with American athletes.
And just to chime in, bro, I don't even remember seeing that the other
Me
time. So,
either. Me
I'm like,
either.
oh, yeah, when the syringe came out, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I thought that was weird. I didn't like that. But more of the story for me is it got to be in you, not on you. It was not in Apollo, and he lost his life for it. He wanted to seize a moment and the opportunity to get some clout by fighting Drago because it was a big deal on the news. However, Rocky, it was in him. Like always, since the beginning of this movie saga. So it's got to be in you, not on you. If it's not in that, when it's in you, it's at the deep core of where you are in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, where nobody can change or convert you from where you are. With Apollo, he had different motives, and that affected his judgment, that affected his training, and ultimately affected his lifespan. But with Rocky, it was different. He took the beating, he took everything. Even when his wife didn't support, he still stood on business because it was in him, not on him. So that's the moral of the story for me. And that is our episode for Rocky 4. Before we get out of here, we always leave y'all with our next film. So again, our next category. We're doing dealer's choice for every season. So that's 4 dealer's choice films category rounds for every year. So we're in the spring officially by the time you're hearing this. So now it's on Mia G. So that means we get to pick whatever film we want to pick. Give us a little insight on each one of us as a host. So we have no idea what Mia G is going to give us. So without further ado, the floor is yours, Mia G.
Oh, so okay. You had me thinking about something when we were going over categories, and I almost picked something else based off of what you were saying and the categories that you had suggested. However, because it's dealer's choice, and this is any movie in any category, I have to pay homage to an actress who has just recently passed away at a very young age. Michelle Trachtenberg. Trachtenberg. I'm always going to mess up her name. But a movie that meant a lot to me growing up, that meant a whole lot to me growing up, that almost changed the trajectory of my life, which it was a huge influence on me. So I'm going to pick 1996 Harriet the Spy.
Harriet the Spy. I've never even. Hold up. Harriet the Spy. I got to see what is this because it is vague.
You've never seen Harriet the Spy? You've never heard of Harriet the Spy?
Hold on. Harriet the Spy.
Looking at the cover, it looks familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, oh man, this actress, she meant a lot to us, bro.
Yeah.
Oh no. Michelle. Oh man, when I seen that, it was like, dang. Cause I remember her. I almost thought she was on All That. That's how much I remember that face. Oh man. Harriet the Spy. Okay. I like the tone you're setting. Oh, you took us to the childish side. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I almost went super serious. But I was like, no, not this time. This still has some themes, some serious themes in it, some real serious themes. But oh man, I think this is a gem.
Oh man, rest in
rich
peace.
with topics to speak on. And it was a very, very big part of my childhood.
I can't wait to get into it now.
Yeah.
And she hit us with a deep cut. So I don't think I've ever I ain't gonna say I don't think I've never seen it. I may have seen it and don't remember. So because it's vague in my mind, but it don't feel the title don't feel crazy. So okay, Mia G, look at you with the sentimental, release out here. So Harriet the Spy, y'all. Go check that out while y'all we're getting ready for that review next week. I'm trying to see where you can stream it at just so people can find their way to it.
So I have it pulled up already. It's on Pluto TV for free with ads.
Okay, there it is.
You can rent it on Amazon Prime for $3.79, YouTube for $3.99, Apple TV $3.99. It's on Google Play, Movies and TV, Fandango at home. All for rent, but if you want to watch it for free, you can watch it on Pluto. But I do believe that it will be free with ads.
Yeah, and Pluto, I don't think you had to make a profile, so you can get in there.
You don't. You can stream for free. All of the Rocky movies are also on Pluto.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, y'all heard it here. Y'all know what we're doing next. Harriet the Spy, 1996 film, man. We thank y'all truly for listening. We know that we're getting close to the summertime, so we can't wait that we can hang out a little longer. We ain't got to worry about the street lights, but we're still in school at the present moment by the time y'all hearing this. So the street lights is on. We got to hop on the bike. Ash got to get on the front the front stair. Got to get on the front handlebars as we head back to the crib. Me and G got to get back to the crib as well. Holla at Mama C real quick. So man, we thank y'all for listening. Truly, we're glad to be back. Look forward to talking to y'all next week. In the meantime, in between time, peace out.